Let's make candied jalapenos, also known as cowboy candy. In a large pot, I have 8 cups of sugar, and I'm going to add 1/4 cup of garlic powder, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/2 cup of mustard seeds, and a teaspoon of celery seeds. Now, because I do not care for those seeds ending up in whatever recipe I decide to use this in, I am going to put them in a piece of pantyhose. New, not used pantyhose. And when I'm done cooking, I will just discard that whole bag. And then I added 3 cups of apple cider vinegar. You can add turmeric as well, but I do not like turmeric in pickled vegetables, so I always leave it out. I'm going to bring this to a boil over medium-high heat and then reduce the heat and let it simmer for 5 minutes. You want to stir this until the sugar is completely dissolved so that it doesn't scorch, and then you can just let it cook. Then I'm going to add 4 pounds of jalapenos. You can cut your jalapenos several different ways. The first time I made this, I sliced the peppers into rounds, and that was really good. But I ended up chopping them up when I used them. So I've been dicing them up before I can them ever since, because it is a lot easier to dice them when they're fresh. Now the peppers need to simmer for 5 minutes, and then I'll start filling the jars. So how you cut your peppers depends on how you want to use them after they've been canned. And in my next video, I will show you a recipe that I like to use these in. So these have to be canned in pints or smaller jars. I'm using these cute ball pint jars that I found on sale, and I've been saving them for something pretty. And I think these green peppers are going to be gorgeous on the shelf in these jars. I'm using a slotted spoon, really this is a skimmer, to fill the jars with the peppers to 1-inch headspace. Once all the peppers are out of the pot, then I'll bring the cooking liquid back up to a rolling boil for 5 minutes. And then I will ladle the hot liquid over the peppers, keeping that at 1-inch headspace, and debubble to remove any air pockets. And all that extra liquid, I'm going to can that too at the same 1-inch headspace, and that makes an incredible marinade for chicken or pork. I've been working on using what's in my freezer, so we had a phenomenal pepper year 2 years ago, and I have had so many peppers taking up space in my freezer. These were some of the jalapenos that I had diced and frozen. I think I still have several gallon bags of whole peppers that I need to use up. But I've cleaned the rims of the jars with vinegar, put the lids and rings on fingertip tight, and these are going in my pressure canner today. After the canner vents for 10 minutes, I'm adding the weight at 5 pounds for sea level. You would use 6 pounds if you're using a pressure gauge instead. And then once the weight begins to jiggle, these jars will process for 10 minutes. Then I'll turn the heat off, let the canner come down to 0 pressure, and remove the weight. After another 2 minutes, I'll remove the lid and set the jars on the counter to sit undisturbed and cool for about 16 hours. And aren't they beautiful?